So, my friends, today events are unfolding quite interestingly. Reports from all sides suggest that the dismissal of Zaluzhny is just a few days away. But let's start with the situation on the front line, because the struggle there has intensified significantly. The occupiers continue to mobilize a large number of reserves to achieve significant successes before Putin's elections, openly stating their intentions. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian Armed Forces persist in defending, and the destruction of the Russians continues. In the Kupiansk direction, the occupiers claimed to have captured the village of Ivanivske, and they suggest that the battles are already advancing towards Kyslivka. The Ukrainian side may confirm this information, possibly with a delay. However, today the General Staff reported that there have been 5 assaults on Ivanivske within a day, but as of now, the village remains under the control of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. The attacks on Kyslivka haven't been confirmed by the General Staff yet. However, as you understand, these populated areas are in such a situation that the occupiers will attempt to take control of them in any case. So, it appears that a successful breakthrough in the front line near Krokhmalne and Avdiivka is having adverse effects on other populated areas. Now, it's much more challenging to maintain defense there. But the front line remains unchanged over the day, so we are waiting to see how events will unfold further. In the Svatove area, the occupiers show no signs of activity, and even the number of shelling incidents is minimal, with no changes along the front. In the Krymina area, the occupiers failed in their attacks near Torske and Yampolivka. They couldn't make any progress. However, near the village of Terne, battles are still ongoing. Over the day, there are no changes along the front line, and the Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully maintain their defense. In the Siversk direction, shelling continues, but no new attacks are reported, and the situation has stabilized. In the Bakhmut direction, the occupants couldn't advance in the area of Ivanivske, and today they halted attacks again. For now, battles are only recorded in the area of Kyslivka. Within a day, the occupiers managed to conduct only 1 attack. But shelling of all frontline villages and strikes in the rear continue. Even Russian war correspondents report that in the Kyslivka area, the Ukrainian Armed Forces are holding their defense exceptionally well.
In the direction of Bakhmut, the Ukrainian Armed Forces counterattacked on the heights northwest of Kyslivka and recovered several previously lost positions. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continued offensive actions in Ivanova. In the Bodanovka area, there are counterfights.
And all of this indicates that the destruction of the advancing Russians continues. In the Avdiivka direction, the occupiers conducted 20 attacks within a day. A significant number of shelling incidents are recorded along the entire front line. Offensive actions are taking place in the area of the coke and chemical plant. Here, the Russians even report tactical successes and engage in counter battles in the industrial zone. The occupiers are trying to return to the city, or at least its outskirts, while the Ukrainian Armed Forces periodically attempt to regain control of lost positions. So far, there are no significant advancements and the front line remains unchanged. On the southern flank, the occupiers persist in storming the positions of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in Первомайське and Nevelske, but they don't achieve success. In the Mariinka area, attacks have resumed on Georgiivka and Krasnohorivka. Novomykhailivka is also intensively assaulted from two sides. 11 attacks were conducted in this front segment within a day. Despite being practically semi-encircled and facing continuous assaults from two sides, the Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully repel the attacks, preventing the occupiers from advancing or capturing the village. As seen, the Ukrainian Armed Forces are accomplishing the impossible. There is already video footage circulating online with confirmed geolocations showing how the Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully destroyed another column of vehicles attempting to storm Georgiivka. Meanwhile, Dmitry Rogozin is already complaining that due to the use of FPV drones, they have to move artillery further away from the front line.
Because of the enemy's drones and NATO long-range artillery flying everywhere, we have to pull our artillery away from the LBS for at least 20 km. And please answer me the question, how will the artillery mount help us if its firing range is 24.5 km? Can it hit the enemy's cannon and rocket artillery in the course of counter-battery fighting, if it is also located at a distance of 20 km from the front line? How? It's like in boxing, when a long-armed, powerful boxer is released into the ring against a dwarf who has a lace on his underpants twice as long as his arm.
And all this indicates that gradually the Ukrainian Armed Forces are turning the tide and starting to build an advantage over the enemy despite their numerical superiority. In the Vuhledar direction, as expected, all Russian attacks in the Priyutne area failed, and the front line remains unchanged. However, shelling along the front line continues. That's the only option left for the occupiers. In the Zaporizhia direction, the assaults in the Robotyne area continue. The occupiers conducted one attack over the day without achieving success. The intensity has decreased again and the front line remains unchanged. But meanwhile, shelling also persists. In the Kherson direction, there is a very high intensity of shelling on the right and left banks where the positions of the Ukrainian Armed Forces are located. The occupiers are heavily targeting everything that is left in the area of the village of Krinky, attempting to completely destroy this foothold and the right bank. According to their belief, this is where the transfer of troops is taking place. So it must be acknowledged that the situation is extremely complex. However, for now, it's known that the Ukrainian Armed Forces continue to hold the foothold and are not retreating.
Tonight, the chatbot sent us an interesting message. By and large, this does not concern us, officers from the Airborne Forces Command, since this is a purely dry matter. But since the 144th Motorized Rifle Brigade is now located in the Dnipro Main Military Command, where the operational staff of the headquarters of the Dnipro Motorized Rifle Brigade consists of officers of the Airborne Forces Command, we will now announce all the problems that exist in the 144th Motorized Rifle Brigade, which regularly attacks the village of Krinky. 1. The soldiers gave the commander of the 144th Motorized Rifle Brigade the call sign Butcher. He constantly sends his fighters to the meat assault on the village of Krinky, which, by the way, was still the case today. 2. Battalions of the 144th Motorized Rifle Brigade are withdrawn for recovery when losses are more than 50%, and in some battalions there are less than 50 soldiers with combat experience. 3. Everyone who was on vacation is immediately sent to storm the village of Krinky. That's the way it is.
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.